Okay, hey everyone, welcome to Jane Bloodborne's House of Eyeballs. Someone shout me out in the chat if you can hear me, because I totally can't use my computer and the PS4 at the same time, because I only have one monitor. But, well, it sounds like people can hear me. Excellent, people can hear me. Alright, cool. And is the game too loud or anything? Yes, no. Alright, we're gonna play offline.
Oh, yeah. Pale blood.
I will boost my voice.
Well, you've come to the right place.
Next possible opportunity. It's super
Yharnam
hard
is the
to
home
use
of
OBS
blood
and also
administration.
PS4.
You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin?
So here's the blood minister. He ministers
with a
our
bit of
blood.
Yharnam blood of your own.
He's
But first, you'll need a contract.
he's one of the more enigmatic characters in this game. Because he looks quite similar to Gehrman, but he's very clearly not Gehrman, who we'll meet later. Alright. First of all, let's get Jane on deck. Jane Bloodborne. There we go. Jane Bloodborne. Alright. As some of you may have seen on Twitter, this is going to be a young milquetoast female, because you know I'm feeling all three of those things today. Appearance. I'm not going to spend super long on the appearance of this character because, well, I don't know. It just seems like a bad way to start this stream. But let's just, while we're here, can we do something with her face? Face details. Hair/facial hair. Hair type. Ooh, lots of good choices here. Is it just me, or have like games where the characters look like this, they haven't really got hair sorted, have they? They look pretty bad. Oh hey Eden, welcome to the stream. Hopefully we'll get on with some Bloodborne in a second. I just need to figure out what hair I want, which is, you know, I'm sure you'll understand a super important part of the process. Alright, we're gonna go for this hair. Ugh. Ban RGB color selection. There we go. That's much better. Sort of a variety of shades here. Let's go for a sort of blondish yellow gold type look. No eyebrows. Go full Super Saiyan 3. Sort of serious, important eyebrows. But that's it. No beard this time, I think. I'm tempted, but no. Eyelashes. Ooh, heavy eyelashes. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's go for the heavy eyelashes. And rather than go full Sonic OC and get some heterochromia going on here, I think we'll just leave it at that and actually play the game. Because look at that, totally different look. Totally different. She's got a kind of almost identical physical build to my other character, but yeah, whatever. Let's just play. Let's finalize this contract. Alright, Jane. Let's Bloodborne. PS4 sounds like it's taking off.
Good. All signed and sealed.
Oh no, it's so loud.
Now, let's begin the transfusion.
Oh well.
Oh, don't you worry.
Okay, so the Blood Minister is going to minister our blood.
Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Maybe it is Gehrman. I don't actually know. I should probably look that up. That feels like something that if I was going to be a full-time Dark Souls lore person, I should really know. Okay, so now our blood has been ministered, and the nightmare has begun. We look down, we see we're still sharp-dressed. And there's a weird sort of blood wolf thing going on over there. They're not looking too happy, are they? Just catch fire. Yeah, I thought it wasn't Gehrman. Here are the messengers, who are really quite adorable, aren't they? Look at them. I mean, they've got the sort of classic Soulsborne weird imagery going on with their faces, but really they're just a group of silly boys. You can give them funny hats. Look at them.
Ah, you found yourself a hunter.
You can tell the messengers are maybe one of the only good and pure things in this world, because the doll likes them, and the doll is, just so good and so pure. Alright, so we're awaking in this clinic. So we got up off this table, our blood has been ministered in here, and there's this note over here. Seek pale blood to transcend the hunt. So this 6-word phrase will radically change in meaning over the next few hours, but we'll just carry it forward anyway. Let's just seek the pale blood for now. So we have a door back here that does not open from this side. So we'll probably end up going this way. And this is the first thing that I really like about Bloodborne. See, already we've got, I'm going to stop and talk about this, is the way that the doors open. It's a lot like in the other Dark Souls games, but in this super, I guess, gothic horror-y landscape, it has a totally different weight to it when you slowly and gradually open a door, Because, I don't know, what could be on the other side has a totally different weight to it in this game, and I really like that. So we come in here, and there's notes from the messengers that tell you how to use the buttons. So for all of its praise and for all of how much everyone loves Dark Souls, it's still terrible at tutorializing its mechanics. Gunner 247, I have totally played this before. I've played this several times before. Part of the reason that I'm streaming it is because I just want to go through it and just talk about how much I love pretty much everything in it. So much of it is so good. That me complaining about this tutorializing here is like, I don't know, one of maybe 4 things I really dislike about this game. So they're basically all out of the way already. So this is the first enemy that you see, and it's just eating the shit out of this person on the floor of the clinic. Now, there are no other people on any of the beds in this clinic. It's just this one person who's been ganked by this wolf, in a similar kind of way to how it emerged near us, but because the messengers found us, we were saved by holy flames. Obviously, you get attacked by this wolf. It's got like half health, so you think, maybe I'll attack it. But you kind of just slap it with your open hand. Now, if I was feeling really show-offy, I could try and kill this wolf, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave. So you leave through this door. And the wolf chases you, but See, when I was prepping for this stream yesterday, oh, this was a mistake. Well, this has given us a shortcut to the next part of the game, because you actually do have to die. So really, this was an effective speedrun strat. Yeah, I didn't think the wolf could get out either. I think it might have been because it was so vigorously thrusting itself forward into us while we were invincible trying to open the door. But right, so here we are in the Hunter's Dream. Now, the Hunter's Dream is, for anyone who doesn't know, the hub world for this game. It's, well, its nature is complex and sort of multi-layered, but it's basically this place where you go in between levels. You move to places through these headstones, which you unlock destinations to with lanterns and stuff like that. There's a doll here. She's abandoned, and we can't really talk to her yet, but we can later. That'll be fine. So the messengers are going to give us some gear. Now, I was actually super on board to get the threaded cane for this run, but some analysis of like how much damage it does at the different points on this run is just bad. Like, I didn't want to believe it because it's so cool, but it's not a good weapon. So we're going to go for the not so flashy, but ultimately serviceable Hunter's Axe. And for our weapon, for our gun, I considered going with the blunderbuss, but I think I'm just going to go for the pistol because, I mean, I guess I could get the pistol again later, but the thing is, there's apologies to anyone who doesn't really know anything about Bloodborne. I'm just going to explain how this is going to go, because I want this stream to be accessible to people who like Bloodborne, people who don't like Bloodborne, well, people who don't know anything about Bloodborne. So, to make it accessible and interesting to people who have played Bloodborne before, I'm going to be trying to max Blood Tinge before I max any other stat. So if we just look here, we can see our stats. We have our level, our blood echoes, and our insight, and then the stats that you level up to gain levels in the game. So we have vitality, endurance, strength, skill, blood tinge, and arcane. Now, anyone who knows anything about Bloodborne will tell you that blood tinge and arcane are pretty much strictly for second playthroughs, because they have terrible scaling with pretty much all of the available weapons. But, well, I'm going to rush a blood tinge weapon, because I feel like I can do that. Look, Eden, I knew you wouldn't think this was a good idea, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go to Canhurst Castle, and I'm going to get that Chicago, and we're going to slice some people up. But up until that point, up until we get to the Hemwick Charnel Lane, this is probably going to just look like a normal skill build, which is why I wanted to get the threaded cane. But even up to 25 skill just sucks. So anyway, we are going to go back to the first floor sick room and make a much more earnest attempt at navigating Central Yharnam. Just so everybody knows, the sort of rough goal for this stream is for me to beat the Cleric Beast and for me to beat Father Gascoigne, the first two major bosses of the game. We're also going to do a lot of other, well, I'm just going to sort of talk at length about how much I love Yharnam as a space. But by the end of it, we should be in a much better place regarding, well, just being able to navigate spaces, I guess. So, the game's a little loud, huh? Okay. The next time it seems natural for me to stop, I will probably tab through and try and have a fiddle around with the levels, see if it works any better. Because, as I've mentioned before, I cannot access the Stream Deck and play the game at the same time. I have only one screen with which to play. Let's get back our pittance of blood echoes, because we're going to be spending those in a bit. And our quicksilver bullets. Yeah, so we're in this graveyard here. We can't go through this door for some time yet, but we can go through this door. Yeah, sorry, I'll be pronouncing it correctly from here as Gascoigne. Gascoigne. So I guess the first thing that is pertinent to talk about with this game, as you saw just now, is the rally system, or whatever you call it. I've heard a lot of people call it a lot of different things, but I'm just going to call it the rally system because that's what I've heard it called the most. So the rally system is where this game differs maybe the most from the original Soulsborne formula, or the Dark Souls formula, which is that when you take damage, it comes up as a restorable, like, grey life portion of your health bar. But rather than in a lot of, say, like fighting games or other games that give you a grey health portion, you restore it by attacking. And this changes the flow of the game completely. Like instead of acting passively in order to maximize your health, the game tempts you. The game says, why not try an attack to gain your health back, rather than play passively and defend? Why not just push forward just a little bit more? Why not gamble with what you have? Yes, this is where I would have liked to get to before dying before, but it's fine. We're doing okay. Exactly. The game makes a fun joke about engendering passivity when you find a shield slightly later on. Maybe we'll find that today. Maybe we won't. I don't know. Oh yeah, that is the sound of the Cleric Beast. I have never noticed that. Eden pointed out that screaming sound was in fact the sound of the Cleric Beast. Eden is probably going to be just so mad with the way I play this section of the game, because, and I'll talk about it when I get there actually, but I don't fight the first two bosses in the correct order. Or at least, I certainly don't fight the first boss when most people tell me you should. So here we get to have a little chat with...
You must be a hunter.
The first Yharnam resident we meet, except we find out that he's not actually a resident. He's Gilbert, an outsider.
You must have had a fine time of it.
One of the really interesting things about this game is the way that it uses English, like regional English accents to confer otherness in its NPCs.
But I'm willing to help if there's anything that can be done.
Because, well, if you just pay like close attention to this person's accent and how they refer to themselves as an outsider, and then listen to the accents that they give the Yharnam residents, well, you'll be able to see a pretty significant difference.
It will do more harm than good.
Get ready to hear me talk at intense length about what are 0.5 second voice lines. They're maybe my favourite thing about this area of the game, which is one of my favourite areas of the game. Yeah, it's a really clever localization as well, because like it's not something that's absent from the other Soulsborne games either. Like those also have regional English accents to confer something. I guess it's not quite as stark as this, because so you have a sort of, this is where I'm going to completely undermine my point by getting this reads totally wrong, but Gilbert's accent sounds very almost Irish in a kind of way, whereas these folks, let's see if we can get one of them to yell at me.
Cursed beast!
Yeah.
Please, God!
So yeah, this is the one thing that, another thing that really I like a lot about these voice lines, compared to me say that sentence a lot, is that they seem very panicked in a way that you don't really get anywhere else in Dark Souls, or the whole world, I guess, because almost no enemies have voice lines in Dark Souls. Like, they make sounds, they make weird guttural noises, but they don't say things. Not only do these people say things, but they say them in like a way that is super indicative of the way that this world exists. We're gonna kill this guy, because I want to. So, another major departure from Dark Souls is the way that parrying works. Oh, that's a lot of damage. The way that parrying works is, rather than pressing a special block button at a particular time, you have to attack the enemy at a particular point in their attack animation. And I think this is just genius. This is, I think, my favourite mechanical change, is that it makes attacking, again, moves it from a passive action to an active action. It makes it not only does it make it like more dynamic, and it makes it snap more, but it also makes it much more tense, because now you don't have the illusion of defense when you mess up a parry. You really just have to attack at the exact right time. And I just think that's so good. Because not only then are you timing it with like your opponent connecting, but you're trying to time it in like the wind-up of their attack. Okay, so we got this big mob of friends here. Hello, never mind. You're over there. Let's kill you. So yeah, an effect of these enemies being piled up in this way, so you get to hear their voice lines a lot, but you get to really meditate on what they're trying to convey. And the thing that I get from them is that these people are like genuinely terrified of what they fear that you will bring to Yharnam. Like they refer to you as a plague. They repeatedly just demand that you get away. I really like that. I really like the way that it sounds. I really like the way that it feels as well. You have to kill them. So as you're killing them, they're yelling about how terrible you will be for their place, and then they die. This guy is up here. I like doing 169 damage per attack, but it doesn't mesh very well with the fact that these folks have 70 health. Is at once nice and not so nice. So this is really interesting that this is. I really like the way that this plays out, because you turn up at this square and they're all massed in the centre, because you probably didn't as you ran down that alleyway over there. So you see them all massed in the centre, and this is way too many. Like, I mean, if you did try and take them down while they were massed all over there, like coming down the alleyway, you probably would have found that 5 is way too many combatants to try and take on at once. So you see the square and you're like, oh, that's too many. So what it then presents you with is these two walkways on the side that you can try and thin down the curve. It also gives you a place to run when things go wrong.
You are cursed.
And here we get our first little bit of, well, I mean, I guess it's sort of video games 101, but it's also pretty common in Souls, is having this this item just out of reach on the other side of a gate that, you know, you have to think of a way around to get to. But I think the reason that I want to talk about this, and the reason that it sort of sticks out to me, is because Bloodborne has this in pretty much the same way that Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 did. But, like, Bloodborne has maybe 10% the different varieties of interesting item you can get. So, 9 times out of 10, you see this flare, and you go, ah, I want to go and get that. And it's just a madman's insight. Every single time. And you get to this point where you know, like, you see the flare, and you're like, you know that it's not an item that you're going to have any interest in. But you still go for it anyway. And I just think that's really interesting. I really like that. So another thing I wanted to talk about here. God, I can't think of it right now, so we're gonna... Yeah, exactly, pebbles. So many pebbles in this goddamn video game. I am going to come at this from... I'm going to come at this from this angle and just try and kite some of these folks off. I'm not going to be using the gun to kill these guys too much. So, and I like the moveset on this. I hadn't used it much before I was trying it out yesterday, but I like it a lot. Eden says you get the exact same feeling that maybe this one isn't trash with the Chalice dungeons, and that's absolutely right. I am in the Cursed and Defiled Chalice dungeon, and it's the worst thing in the world. But I'm going to get through it, and I'm going to do the next one, because I need to see the end of this. Okay, so we have these gun friends. Oh, that's not the heal button. This isn't Dark Souls. Heal with square. I'm gonna run up there and kill a guy. You see, those guys that come in on the patrol are actually they're on a patrol around this zone, which I didn't know before. Another really interesting thing about these enemies, and what? No, why are you doing that? I have never ever known why this controller randomly does gestures. It did it in Dark Souls as So, as I was saying, another really interesting thing about these is that because it's early in the game and you're still getting used to this game's aesthetic, like, you don't really look too hard at them because you're just so focused on killing them, and also, like, it's a new and strange world, you've got a lot to take in. But you can see the beginnings of something very weird happening. Like, this arm is a normal human arm. This is a very long arm, and it's covered in weird hair. Or barbed wire or something. Like, people don't look like that. His arms are 2 different lengths. And it works as part of the enemy design because of the way that their attacks, like, snap towards you. But then when you look at the model, it's like, it's kind of weird. Anyway, there's another thing I wanted to show you. Where are the dogs? Where are the doggos at? Oh, those are dead balls. doggo go off with the patrol? Is he up here now? Or is he over there? Maybe he just died. Fire. Well, no doggo's here, so we'll get them. We'll get them next time. They're over there. See, now bloodstones I am happy to see, because we're going to need them. Because our stats will be utter garbage, so we're going to spend bloodstone shards early and we're going to spend them off. This is another of my favourite things about Yharnam's aesthetic, is that all of the houses are locked, and you knock and they say variations on, don't come in, you're gross, go away. But like, you move away and or you stand nearby and you can hear them like, I don't know how well you can hear it, but they're just having a fucking awesome time in there. They're just screaming with laughter. Meanwhile, these people out here are visibly mutating and, you know, dying. I wonder what that might be trying to say. I wonder why there are people in this gilded house having a great time, saying no one can come in, while the people on the hunt look grotty and get killed. I wonder if that might have a point. Let's see if that theme develops. Anyway, here's our first big man. He's big. I mean, they get bigger than he does, but he's big. And he's already killed some people. So we're gonna try and do a murder on this friend. Oh no, rats. Shining coins. So I think those are actually much less strong than that axe friend we killed up over there, but whatever, I killed him. I'm not trying to sow class struggle, I'm trying to point it, Punch Nazi says, are you still trying to sow class struggle? And I'm correctly pointing out that I'm not sowing anything, I'm just telling you what's in the game, but it is extremely in the game. Let's find out what that item is that I spent ages talking about. There's, of course, Cold Blood Dew, which is like, what, 500 echoes? Less? 300 echoes? We can't open this up from here, can we? Eden is saying something about a music box. Oh, I heard it. Oh, I did hear it. I literally just heard it. Am I meant to get something from that? Is that Gascoigne's daughter's music box? Well, I guess we'll find out. Anyway, this is what I wanted to point out with these dogs, is that they're the first example of what the game refers to, well, so, for whatever reason, you have things like bullets and blood vials. Normally you can't, I don't think you can see them in your inventory, but you can see them in your storage box, and you can see the descriptions of them at the messenger path. And just a nice little touch is that the Quicksilver bullets say they're extremely effective against beasts, which makes a lot of sense, because if you fire them at this guy, he just has a little sad moment, but in a second I'll show you what it looks like when you fire them as well. There'll be no life bullet, which is nice. See, look at that. That was a terrible play, but by mashing the attack button, I gained all my health back. Amazing. Fantastic. I love it. Ugh. So, we're getting up to that point I mentioned where I'm slightly confused by the level design. So, what can we do? We can go over... Okay, so we end up on this bridge, right? And at the very end of that bridge, off towards the church, there's a boss fight. And it's the first boss fight. Pretty unequivocally, it's the first boss fight. It's the most widely held trophy for this game on PSN. I did not do this for maybe 20 hours the first time I played this game, and it did not occur to me to do it because I don't think the level design guides you that way at all. So let's show you what I mean. We're not going to go this way yet because actually we're going to pick up some items this way first, but then I'm going to show you what I mean about this level design. Come on. Oh, pebbles. Love pebbles. See? It's always pebbles. So first up we have these wolves, which are pretty strong, and I'm probably going to ignore because I don't really want to fight them. You can totally just get past them. The time-honored tradition of Souls games. Instead, I'm gonna go into this building because okay, I'm just going to get this checkpoint, and then I'm going to tell you what I mean about this level design because I think it just interesting me. Okay.
Is something wrong?
Gilbert is a little...
Stop this nonsense.
A little disquieted that I'm murdering people right outside his window, but, you know, he'll be dead soon, so I don't really feel the need to be judged by him. Okay, so we have this Dark Souls. You have these, this sort of standard... The level design just, you know, it pulls you in a direction that you can't see these people, but their attack is quite easy. Neat. Colbert do. Alright, so we end up back up here. So like, you come past these folks, and I didn't want to fight these people the first time I came past here because I died to them a couple of times, and they're really strong. Like, they take quite a lot of killing, and they do quite a lot of damage. So I run past here, and I see this big, bulky dude, and I think, I don't want to go that way either, really, if I'm running away from these wolves. So I either run into here, or I run past down here. And both of these lead to the same place, right? They lead down to this under the bridge zone. And back to this building, right? And then, obviously, you come through this door, or you come down here and you see this door. You are, if I'm correct, you can't open this door from this side. So, whichever way you go, you end up looking at this door. And I'm just going to get these... Oh no. Oh, that's terrible. He was going to shoot me, I swear. So yeah, you end up looking at this door, you go through this door, and maybe you recognize this point, maybe you don't. But if you go this way, again, more bulky dudes, maybe you want to avoid those. So you have a look around, you have a further look around, and you see this. You go back to the lantern. And what you found is your first big shortcut. And the first example of my favorite thing about Central Yharnam, which is that unlike almost any other space in Bloodborne, it is very much folded into itself in a really, really satisfying way. Like, people talk a lot about Dark Souls being this big continuous space, and it is. But it's part of the things that makes it so striking is that it's... I guess the paths between spaces in Dark Souls are, in a general case, quite like stark. Knowing where to go. Like, and people always make a big point of there are loads of places in Dark Souls where you can see the world go all the way down. And you can. But Yharnam, I think, is maybe more impressive for feeling like a continuous space where that is all just threaded into itself. And I really like that. But yeah, thanks to that interesting little level design, King, I had no idea that there was anything down there for hours and hours and hours. And true to that, we're not going to go there now. We're going to go there later. Because I am going to make some more level progress. Eden says, Yharnam feels like a city and not like a set of levels connected by shortcuts, and yes, that is exactly the case. That is exactly what works about it. I love it. I'm gonna justify outplayed by dogs. I'm gonna justify what I do with some fun explanations about this game. Okay, it's gonna make sense in a minute, I promise. I'm gonna kill the dogs in the cages because you get this fun little sort of 1, 2, 3 where you see the dogs in cages, and then one pops out, and then there are dogs outside of cages. That's fun. That's a nice little. That's like a micro story. I like that. Big gun. Right. So. Oh, okay. Do not that dash attack. I will at some point, I promise. So this is another interesting thing. This is one of the few vulnerable people in Yharnam that you actually get to interact with in any kind of way. Because the lower class people of Yharnam are obviously, well, in a general case, trying to kill you on the hunt. But there are like, I think it's 4 or 5 people that are stuck on the night of the hunt, out of you know, they don't have a safe place to go. And you get to make what turns out to be a pretty weird choice where to tell them to go. And I don't know, I like that, I guess. I'm actually going to tag back to the hunter stream before we progress, because the next bit I have a pretty significant chance of dying, and I want to cash in all of these souls or echoes before I do. So, the reason that I'm not killing the Cleric Beast, or the way I'm justifying not killing the Cleric Beast, is that I get to talk about another of my favourite things about this game, which is, when you spot the Cleric Beast, the justification is that the Cleric Beast's nature is so perverse to you that it fundamentally warps your perspective of reality. The Cleric Beast is such a giant, horrifying creature that things that seemed impossible to you now don't. You gain a broader perspective on whatever the hell it is that's happening to you. And the way that the game conveys this to you is it increments a meter in the top right of the screen by 1. And that's it. It doesn't even tell you that it's done this. It took me a really long time to notice it was happening. But this is a thing called insight. And it represents a whole lot of things, but that whole thing about whatever the hell is going on is the main thing. We'll learn some interesting things about what else insight might mean later on in the game. I won't spoil them because it's fun to find out about them. But, so the thing is that the Cleric Beast increments your insight by 1 just seeing it. So, if you die to the Cleric Beast, you still have your, which means that when you go back to the Hunter's Dream, you will have a broader perspective on the world. The inanimate doll will be standing up. She can cause you to level up and becomes an active character in the game. And I just think that's really interesting that this can't happen until you've at least, well, this generally doesn't happen until you've at least fought the first boss of the game. But because I'm a bad person, we're going to manually increase our insight with a little skull that I'm going to find at the bottom of this room. And we're going to fight the boss with slightly upgraded weapons if we don't fall off the hill, which we didn't. We're going to go through there in a bit, not right now. I'm going to cash in these echoes first. So Eden says, I love the way that Insight is a subversion of Lovecraftian tropes and madness in the fabric of reality. I love that too. And the thing that I love the most about it, I can't really talk about at the moment because the nature of Insight as it works narratively has not been explored particularly well at this point. I kind of want to save that until we talk about it because it's, again, one of the many, many things I absolutely adore about this game. Can we drop here without taking damage? I don't think we can. Okay. Ouchie. Okay, these enemies fucking suck. They have insanely active attacks, like just the most active. There's a gun friend in here I want to kill before we do. Hitboxes on these attacks are just in awe at the size of these hitboxes. Absolute units. Come on. Get out here. Yeah, that's the other thing about them. Their stun-up combo is quite powerful. Okay. Wow. Yeah, they're pretty good. Rush back over there, and I guess if we've already died, then we can just pick up our echoes and take the risk on going to visit the Crow Lady, because that's going to be the first really controversial thing about this playthrough, I think. No spoilers, anyone who knows what I'm going to do when I meet the Crow Lady. Because she's not going to get a very good look in this playthrough, so we're gonna have a little chat about her when we arrive. So she gets her due because she's a very cool character. One of the things I really like as well about the rally mechanic is that the rally of the enemies actually persists a couple of frames after they die, which means it rewards you for attacking an enemy that isn't alive anymore, which I think that is a really cool thing. I'm very into that. Right, so we're going to go down here because this one is coming down the stairs, which means we get to pull him up to here. And we get to fight him in absence of his friends, which I like doing. I'm going to make sure we're full big damage. Come on, attack me, you coward. think someone in the chat was saying, their attacks are very damaging, they have very big wind-ups, which means that, in theory, if you're not terrible at Bloodborne like me, they're very parryable. I'm going to try and backstab this one. Is that too short? Yeah, so the visceral attack system change comes with a complete change to backstabs, which I like a lot, because backstabs in Dark Souls and Dark Souls 2 were pretty bad. I don't know why you have my echoes, but I'll take them. Good system, but ultimately the bullets are a finite resource and I just want to waste them all the time. Is that the rats making that noise? Right, which side do we want to land on? Let's land on this side, because I want to get that insight. Says this is a good stream full of good games. Thanks, man. I like all the games that we've played so far. That is one thing that I promise I will never play a bad game to dunk on it, because I think that is a boring game. I cannot promise that I will not play a bad game to say that there are good things about it, because I like games that people say are bad. Finding the good things about bad games is something that I like. Okay. Well, here we go. How much damage are we doing to the rats with the gun? Not even reaching the rats with the gun. That's fine, I guess. Okay. So what I've done is I've come down here without clearing out the way back up, which means that our path back to the lantern is not guaranteed, but there's some event trigger here that moves all of these rats, what alerts them all to you trying to get that item over there, but sometimes it doesn't trigger. I'm not really sure why. Maybe if you kill something first. I don't know, let's find out, I guess. Come on, you cowards. Suggested that I play good games to dunk on the night. Oh, this guy. These gun guys. Oh, that was the worst. Wow. You felt that? That's pretty funny. Okay. So, provided nobody is following me, and it doesn't look like they are, I think we might go and pay a visit to my bro friend. Having cleared out this area pretty extensively. Clear out those rats the next time we drop down. Okay, so we drop down to here. Okay, so we move out onto this sort of makeshift balcony-ish area, and we find Eileen the Crow. Eileen the Crow has a killer look. She's a killer lady. She's just great. Look at her. She looks like a plague doctor crossed with, I don't know, some kind of knife tree. I love her. She's great. So her deal is that she runs the Covenant that hunts bad hunters, and she's just I mean, she's one of the nicer people that you meet. Like, she's got like positive motives in a way that almost no other, specifically Bloodborne, I guess, no other Bloodborne character really has. Almost everyone else in this game is just pretty shitty, except for another character who we're going to meet in a bit. But Eileen, she's real good. So yeah, I like Eileen. What I don't like about Eileen is her questline. Her questline is real bad because she's a cool character and you want to do her questline. You want to help Eileen. She's nice, but her questline involves you going through not one but 2 NPC hunter fights, which suck. They're so bad. Not only are they so bad, but the second one she sends you to do, or rather can't do herself, so you kind of have to just step in, is like, it's an extremely long NPC hunter fight, and he heals himself. I just hate that I had to do it. I hate my life. And you have to do it to get her weapon. Except in this case. So, the thing about this playthrough, and this Blood Tinge build that I was talking about, is that it requires us to go to an area called Canhurst Castle quite early in the game to get a weapon that doesn't completely stink. It also requires us to beat the boss there, and beating the boss there is pretty hard. Like, he's a strong boss, and we're going to be fighting him really early in the game, so we're going to need all the help we can get, and by which I mean we're going to need Eileen's weapon. And if we're not going to be completing Eileen's quest line, then like, there's only really one other way that we can get her badge, and yeah, I think this is how we're going to solve this problem. See, look, she's so nice. I could do that to her, and she wouldn't fight back. So nice. So nice. I'm going to do it again.
Look at you, you sorry drunk. I'll string you
That's
up
how
like
little
the
damage I do to
filthy
her.
beast
She's
you are.
hench. She's strong. Because yeah, we're gonna lead her down there. I could have sworn in some previous version of Bloodborne she died in that fall, but she doesn't here. So we're gonna have to get in there and finish her off. Definitely the bad guy. I get it. I'm definitely not the good guy here. This has terrible optics, terrible haptics. Just, it's terrible. It's a really bad thing that I'm doing. I also don't think I can shoot her from here, which is very bad for me. She's got throwing knives. I didn't even know she had those. This is not going well for me. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just drop on her. The thing is, I'm pretty sure I'll die in like 1 attack from her, and I actually have literally no idea what happens if I die in this case. But I think in the interest of getting this going, I'm just gonna have to her. She's hasn't. How you doing? You done? I'm Patches. Look, she survived! And now I'm gonna die. Okay. Whew. Well, that was a fair fight. But I think the best person won. Okay. So that's pretty much everything we want to do for the first stage of this. We've got our badge, we've got our man person's insight, and we've cleared out up to this point. So I'm gonna hopefully back to that. Oh, excuse me! Excuse me! Okay. I deserve everything that happens to me now. I've done a terrible thing, and the universe is out to punish me. Eileen said you can't go on like this, and maybe nothing is more true. Come get me, you coward. Ah, you stopped it up. I wonder if I even have 19 Quicksilver bullets in storage. I love that swing. At some point, I'm gonna have to talk at length about the trick weapons and the trick weapon movesets in this game, because wow, they're good. They're so good. So much about this game is just like, it beggars belief how good it is. Like, just how much snap this animation has. Whoa. Look at that. I mean, I'm a tiny wayfish person, and I sell that animation. Look at that. It's great. Video games, folks. I love them. So Eden says, even when you kill Eileen, her concern is about you losing your humanity. And yeah, that's a pretty solid read on Eileen's character. Like, it also is like I guess it's a, because I don't know, I'm at a risk of misremembering some of her voice lines from elsewhere in the game, and again getting this read completely wrong. But like, if I'm not mistaken, she's waiting to wake up from the dream herself. Like, I think maybe if she gets killed by Henrik, she's like, finally, oh my god, I'm awake. Oh yeah, before we go back, we're going to consume this insight. So we can use the door without having to die to or kill one of the bosses. Hooray! Oh yeah, that's it. She says she doesn't dream anymore. You're right. You're completely right. Items. So yeah, so if anyone happens to have gotten this game on PlayStation Plus this month and wants to cameo on this stream, let me know. I'll you know, and if you want like help with a boss or just to fight a boss, we could totally do that. Because I'm not gonna be, well, I'm not planning to be summoning any help with the bosses myself, but yeah. So this badge that we got off Eileen lets us buy this Blade of Mercy for a paltry 40,000 blood echoes. I will probably grind out those on my own time, because none of you want to watch that. That would be very, very boring. I think that's something we want to do here at this point. Now that we have insight, we can level up at the doll, but also we get to meet Gehrman.
Aha! You must be the new hunter.
Yeah, that's definitely not the Blood Minister from before.
Welcome
It just
to
happens
the
to be another
Hunter's
wheelchair-bound old man with
This will
white
be
hair.
your home. For now, I am Gehrman.
So yeah, the extremely subtle character
You're sure to be in a
inflection of
fine
forgetting his
haze
own
now,
name
but
when he
Don't
talks to
think
you,
too hard
which is
about
interesting.
all of this.
He also says,
Just go out and
he
kill
just says,
it in peace.
just go and do it.
It's
Just have
for
fun.
your own good.
Just do it. Just
You know,
perpetuate the status
It's
quo.
just what hunters do.
You'll get used to it.
You'll get used to it.
Being a cog in the machine is normal. It's fine. It's fine.
This was once a safe haven for hunters.
He's also going to go on for
where
one of my
hunters
favourite voice
used
lines
blood to
coming
enhance their
right up.
weapons and flesh. We don't have as many tools as we once did, but you're welcome to use
So you can use whatever you find.
Even the doll, should it please you.
So just in case you didn't get that Gehrman was maybe not the best guy, he genuinely insists that if it should please you, you can go and use the doll. Because when you're leveling up with the doll, you're definitely not using the doll. You have a chat with the
Hello,
doll.
good hunter.
She says hi.
I am a doll. Here, honorable hunter, and I will
There's a dialogue in place.
very
Channel
well.
blood echoes
Let
to
me
raise stats. There's maybe even some kind of transaction in place here. Whereas Gehrman is just like,
Use the doll if you want.
Eden says, the thing about that line is he says it even before the doll wakes up, and that is exactly right. He does. I think he probably says it to a lot of hunters who never gain any insight at all. Which I think says a great deal about Gehrman's character. Which it was meant to. It's not a particularly subtle line read. So, I know I said a lot about maxing Blood Tinge, but to get to the point where maxing Blood Tinge actually does anything, we are definitely going to be putting a lot of points into skill, probably a lot of points into vitality and endurance. And I think we're going to be leaving strength where it is. I actually have a build recorded somewhere that I will be consulting off stream to make sure that we're going the right way. But also, it's not like we're going to be taking this thing to PvP, so I can always just over level. One thing I am going to do is fortify my goddamn axe, because I get 2 fortifications out of these 8 shards that I found, and the damage boost is not insignificant.
welcome. What is it, Hugh? Very well.
So we're
Let
going to
me.
level up. Yeah, I think that's probably what we're doing. Yeah, let's just do that for now.
Farewell. May you.
So, chat seems to think that my build order is not a good choice, but whatever. That's what we're going for anyway. Oh wait, maybe they're talking about something that someone else said. I'm gonna look at the chat slightly less, and instead we're going to continue. We're going to surge forward. In fact, now that we've leveled up a bit and fortified our weapon, I think maybe we will fight the Cleric Beast. Because it's a good fight. It's a cool boss. It also features one of my favourite pieces of music in the game. In a game stacked to the gills with absolutely fantastic music pieces. Oh, look at that. 69 to 17. See, look at that. Persistent rally hitbox. I like it. It's good. When the hunt began, the healing church abandoned us, blocking the great bridge to the cathedral ward as they burned old Yharnam to the ground on that moonlit night. So this is another really interesting thing, or it hints at another really interesting thing about Bloodborne, is that you find all of these little pieces that hint at some kind of chronology or canon to the series of events that take place and inform the world of the game. But when anything happened is kind of not really clarified in any sort of helpful way. It's just kind of hinted at a vague chronology, but it's not calcified for you. Things just kind of happened in the vague past, and we're left with where we are now. And coupled with the nature of the hunter's dream and the night of the hunt, but the fact that the night of the hunt seems to have gone on for quite some time, maybe all of this stuff happened today. Or maybe there's just been, you know, the flow of time is distorted, basically, is what I'm saying.
Alright, that's cool.
Thank you for following, whoever just followed. I can't see your name right now because I only have one monitor. But thank you for following. So Eden says, if I have the music, hopefully eventually I'll fight Lawrence. So the answer to that question is yes. Just for the answer to that question is yes, because I've literally never fought Lawrence before. I'm hoping to do the DLC on this playthrough because this playthrough was an excuse to do a new game run, which I haven't done. And I've never beaten the first boss of the DLC before because I've only tried it in the Game Pass, which is insanely hard. So that is the answer to your question. We will be fighting Lawrence at some point. I fully expect to hate it, but by then I hope to be a strong woman with a long sword. One more thing I'll do before we fight the Cleric Beast is I will get a better set of clothes, because I don't like this hood. There's a better thing that I can wear, that I intend to wear. So I'm going to do that. So we're going to go back down to this place. She's got a long sword. That's the plan. The final build for this character is to be a strong woman with a long sword, and just a kicking sense of fashion. Because the clothes that you can get at Canhurst Castle. I don't remember who it was who said on Twitter that Canhurst Castle was secretly a Castlevania game, but they were absolutely right. Canhurst Castle is a fantastic area, and I'm so glad it exists. Sprinting towards an enemy so widely rewarded? None. But in this one, it's cool. Hey, thanks for following, whoever just followed. So the chat is talking about which bosses in this game qualify as bad bosses, and there are some good suggestions certainly, but Eden said that Amygdala was a bad boss, and I can't abide that. I'll talk about it, but we will eventually do, I hope. Clothes, which are around here somewhere. Not actually fully sure where. The significant item drops in this area kind of blend together. Eden says, "Have you fought the Defiled Chalice Amygdala?" And as I was mentioning earlier, I have fought the Defiled Chalice Amygdala. That sucks. That is the Chalice boss. sucks, especially when you don't have access to the DLC arcane weapons to cheese it with. Yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. But we won't be doing that on this stream, except maybe as some kind of bonus stream someday when I'm feeling miserable and just want to grind some video game. But yeah, that boss stinks. I hate it. But it's the boss design I don't hate. It's the fact that they just made it more difficult by giving you half health. Here into Yharnam's sewers, which is another super interesting area. Yharnam is super dense. Like, I know there's that whole thing about the way the games are developed tends to mean that the beginning and the end is made first, and then the middle bits are made to sort of bridge the gap between the two. So that's why at the beginning of the game you always see quite a lot of the development of budget on display, and at the end of the game as well, sometimes you quite often see a lot of the development budget on display. But Yharnam, wow, it's just such a good start. It's so good. So you have this sewer, and then the water runs through Yharnam, and it's got these gross, like weird, like skeletal gargoyle things on the walls. Already we're in a kind of a weird place. And then we move down here, we get further. We'll go up there. I think there's a shortcut that we can trigger up there. But first we're going to go down here because I want to show you this thing down here. It fits into what I'm talking about. So you see all these bodies, and you're like, ugh. And I mean, if you've played a lot of Dark Souls, your encounter rate is tingling because something's going on. And as we see, these bodies are people. And they're clearly people. Like, they've got human faces, and they've got these extended arms. Like, is the kind of like, is this what happens to the other people on the night when society is done with them? Do they just literally throw them in the sewer to rot? And I'm gonna kill them because I need that life. But I want to do it too, different things. So Mimi says my mic is off. Did you say my mic is too loud or too quiet? Okay, it's too quiet. Alright. What I'm going to do is, because we're in a safe area, I'm going to mix that a bit. How should I do that? Because I have to change monitors to do that. Okay. Let's have a look. So... can we make a loud noise from here? Can you hear me talking over this? Am I audible over this? How about this? Does this work? Thank you for helping me troubleshoot this, by the way. Yeah, I think those... Okay, cool. I'm glad that works. Alright, I'm going to switch monitors again. Thank you very much, everyone. Okay, so the thing that I was just trying to talk about is how these people... These are clearly people, but they're just sort of literally circling this drain. They've been dropped into this sewer, and they have a lot of the visual signifiers of the mob from the hunt earlier. And I think that's really cool. I think it's really sort of bold that the game just shows you. And what is, I mean, I'm doing it quite slowly because I'm stopping to talk about everything. But in the first hour of the game, like the game just shows you that this life cycle of what it is like to be an average human being in Yharnam, and I think that is super, super cool. Yeah, I've had some audio troubles today because the original capture method I was using actually couldn't get the audio of Bloodborne while I was playing it, but really set itself. It's quite a loud game, and I think that's that's intentional. It sort of wants to reach across the sort of soundscape to you. I've just realised that the clothes that I'm looking for are not this way, so I'm just going to finish these folks off. And maybe get this shortcut up here. Because that sets us up for the next area quite well. Yeah, I'm going to do this. This is a big boy. Big. We're gonna just right in there. Right up in that pig butt. Get some blood vials. Get that badge. And activate this shortcut, which I think that's what that is. Yeah, well, no, this just gives us a different way. Okay, the shortcut's actually over there. Right, we're gonna go over there. Yeah, right, this game is so good. Like, visceral attacks as well. Like, parrying was pretty satisfying with the larger weapons in Dark Souls. Like, you got to just really just go, like, just give them a big smash. But in this game, you don't even use your weapon. You just get your hand right in there. I want to kill this guy first, really. Whoa. Look at that. It's satisfying every time. I've played this game for well over 200 hours and it is still satisfying. It's still extremely good. A fun consequence of coming up this way is that you saw these folks were dropping like a fire boulder. There's a mob over there. They all just got totally killed by it. Which if you come up the normal way, they're not. But I had meant to go and kill the Cleric beast, but actually we're right next to Father Gascoigne. Yeah, Eden's talking about a line from Marston Walker describing that parrying is something like reaching inside his body to remove his body from his body. That's a really good line. I think the line that I think of to describe this is one of the lines that Tim Rogers used to describe God Hand, which is that it's like being punched by a bully and catching the bully's fist, uncurling it, and then snatching a $50 bill from inside. That is what visceral attacking is like for me. It's just so good. Okay, so we've activated that shortcut now and can get straight here from the lantern. Right, let's see if we can find that hunter's that set, because it's down here somewhere. And then we'll kill those bosses, because I know you all want to see a big boss fight. Who doesn't? It might well be on a crossbeam. I will investigate the crossbeams. I'm also going to activate this shortcut to... Isn't that it? Maybe that's it. I don't know. We'll go over there at some point. I'm going to activate this shortcut to enable... Wait, is there a shortcut here? Yeah, there totally is, right? Yeah. See, like I say, every time it's pebbles. Pebbles are a madman's knowledge. townsfolk. Up this ladder. It's another fun thing about this game. You just get absolutely soaked in blood. Look at that model. Just blood everywhere. Let's take this hat off, I'll show you. She's a bloody lady. She's got a lot of blood on her. But not on her hair. We've protected her hair with the hood. Where's the device? There it is. Yeah, that music box. Eden, is that Gascoigne's daughter's music box? Because you must meet her quite near here, right? Isn't she like in this house here or something? Oh no, I don't know. She's near here. Anyway. Yeah, I thought it was. We'll definitely go and meet Gascoigne's daughter at some point, because that's a really nice little vignette that this game has for us. How do we... I genuinely don't remember how to get to the crossbeam that I'm looking for. Do I have to come back around? Because I'm going to get over there. Oh, hi Rose, thanks for stopping by. I love it when people check in with the chat, it makes me feel so nice. Because then everyone else gets to say hi, and it's a fun little chatter time. I like it. Alright, let's get this crossbeam item, so even if it isn't the set, I can be sure it's not the set. Second of 4 things that sucks about Bloodborne. Platforming. Platforming's still bad. It's still in the game, and it's still bad. That's 2 down. We're an hour into a game we'll probably play for 30 hours, and 2 of the 4 bad things have already gone. I will mention the platforming when it comes up again, because it comes up again in a pretty big way, but we'll find it and we'll talk about it, because that's what we do here. Oh, how do you get over there? I don't remember. It's weird, because I definitely got this yesterday when I was exploring, but it seems I cannot remember how to get over. Oh, I do remember how to get over there. Okay, I'm going to go back to the lantern, because that is the fastest way over there. Or the fastest way I can think of. I'm going to drop down. Am I going to drop down? No, I'm not going to drop down. That would be slower than what I should be doing, which is... where's the ladder? I need to reorient myself. I've lost myself. Right, okay, it's this way. Yeah, if anyone doesn't know Will is one of those enigmas. Will is purposefully inscrutable and difficult to know, which is why I'm so privileged to know them. I love this game. I love this game. I still can't get away from having a slightly dodgy physics engine where everything gets caught on your legs and weirdly like drops into view when it pops in, when the game decides to render it for you. Everything just goes onto the floor. I love it. I love it. Alright, so we're going to go back up here. I guess we probably could have used the shortcut to get back to the lantern, but we've ended up going this way, so this way we shall go. Ooh, that was an accident. Good old DualShock 4 pad with your hair triggers. Oh yeah, we didn't get this the first time around. Cobble do. We're going to spend all of these before I fight Gascoigne. No ragdolls is by far the worst thing about Dark Souls 2, it's true, Eden. Right, I've come all the way back to the lantern when actually we didn't need to come all this way back. Was that another roar from the Cleric beast? I think it might have been. We should kill them soon. But I do want to get this armor first, because I like it. It looks cool. Looking cool is a desirable thing. See you, wolves. Get out of here. Okay, so actually this is the area where we get the... I think. Oh, I think I bought it last time actually, which is why I'm not successfully finding it. But there is definitely something to be found this way. So we come through here, we break through some coffins. Another thing that's great about this game, instead of barrels or boxes, overwhelmingly you have coffins. Because the set dressing is just that good. I love it. Bloodborne, good video game. Right, some of our spiky friends are here, so we should be wary of them, but... I'm strong. Hey there, pal. How you doing? Do you wanna chat? You just gonna... Man, this guy looks like he just popped out of the Ready Player One trailer, what the hell? Okay, you're just gonna stay there, huh? Well, fair enough. Weird. Alright, I think I want to drop down... Wait, do we get a choice of crossbeams to drop down onto here, or is there just one item? There is just one, isn't there? Okay, let's get the one crossbeam now, rather than later. Puts us in a kind of awkward position, an awkward situation, like a position situation, vis-a-vis these rats, but I'm just gonna roll with it. See, we saw you earlier is the thing. Oh no, it's really bad. Wow, you have a lot of health. See, that's an interesting decision. See, that like multi-hit combo is not like a brand new thing. Ooh, hey, thanks for following whoever just followed. There we go. There's our hunter gear. That's what I was looking for. It's actually not what I was looking for, but I knew something like it was here and got something like it recently. So, piecemeal, we made something we were looking for. So yeah, that multi-hit combo is not a new thing to the Souls games. Like, it's actually, I think it's been in pretty much every one. Normally it's in the most basic enemy they have to offer, so like, you take lots of little hits. Whereas in this, it's like a pretty strong early enemy, so if you get hit by it, you probably die. That's fun. Alright, let's get dressed now that we are. Oh, look at that. Look at that. We got the hair out, we got a fun hat. Oh, this is Bloodborne right here. This outfit is Bloodborne. Many things are Bloodborne. This outfit is one of them. Alright. We are gonna take a quick drop back to the lantern. Get some levels, probably into Vitality, and then we're going to fight the Cleric Beast. Where was the ladder? Over there. Yeah, right, the outfit's just so good. A lot of love for the outfit in the chat, and it's justified. Although, I think I might end up buying the one that you can buy from the shop, because actually I prefer the headpiece. But hey, we'll get there. See you, wolves. Oh, can you move? Oh, heck. Oh, heck. Please, no. Haha. Who is winner now? Oh, right, fine. Oh. Give me my health back. Am I gonna get meatied by this wolf? No, untag me, you cowards. Okay. Like I said, we're going to take a gentle trip back to the lantern, we're going to level up, and then we're going to go and fight the Cleric beast. And I will probably have a little talk about the Cleric beast, because I think it is a cool boss. So one thing I really like about the armor in this game as well is that, unlike Dark Souls, like, this game solves a lot of the problems that I think Dark Souls had with equipment, which is where there was too much equipment, but because there was so much, you got access to this really good spectrum of aesthetic styles and different looks. But the problem was that the game, because it's an RPG, you usually ended up having to wear something that you didn't really want to. Or you were making a purposefully fashion-conscious choice, which is also fine. Whereas this game, like, the armor does have numbers on it, but it's almost completely unimportant. Like, you end up making choices based on fashion much more so than you do based on stats. And I think that's a huge part of why Bloodborne is great. Because the weapons are the same. Like, I made a funny joke about how the cane was awful earlier today, but I did my whole first playthrough with the cane and had a great time. And, like, admittedly you don't pick them in the best way, but you generally do pick a weapon because you just think it looks cool to use, and I like that a lot. I think that's way better than Dark Souls, where there are 10 swords that have the same name and the same moveset. So Eden made a point in the chat about how it makes a difference, the armor makes a difference with Frenzy and the higher New Game Plus cycles. That is almost definitely true, but I am not going to be able to provide any helpful analysis on the New Game Plus cycles because I have sort of completed the first one once, and that's kind of it. So apologies if my analysis is mostly New Game Plus agnostic. I've completed the new game multiple times, but have never had much of an affection for doing New Game Plus because I didn't really appreciate the way that the difficulty scaled. Yeah, I think we probably want this, don't we? Get some more health.
Farewell, good hunter. May.
Yeah, alright, let's go fight the Cleric Beast. Because we've pretty much cleared out this area, so actually we've beaten Eileen, and we've cleared out the rest of this area. We've got basically all the items I wanted to get. So the only thing that is really left for the explicit goals of this stream is to, well, get the 2 bosses, which, not that hard. Well, I say not that hard. Prepare for me to make an enormous fool of myself as I completely fail to effectively defeat Father Gascoigne. But Cleric Beast is a pretty standard, like, I guess, Soulsy boss, or a Soulsy monster boss anyway, which I actually really like. I think the monster bosses get a pretty bad rap, but I think they're very, very good in this game. The Cleric Beast among them. So we get this. I like this scene. We have. It's kind of. The health bars are in the way. Okay, we just have this this giant just standing static, surrounded by crows that look a bit confused as to why they've been arranged this way. I like it. So yeah, everything is fine until our screamy friend turns up. And you see that glow there? That's me gaining insight. Oh, and this piece of music. Oh, it's so good. I love it. So yeah, this is a type of enemy you see more than once in this game, and it's like, I guess here it's in a kind of sort of, I guess it's almost a kind of larval state, because it's clearly monstrous, but like, I mean, it has that asymmetric monster thing going on that is pretty cool. And like, I guess you're not really given much opportunity to understand what the hell is going on here, but turns out that playing video games and talking about them at the same time is actually basically what I'm saying is that this Cleric Beast jumps onto the screen from the church, which is an interesting, I mean obviously it's called the Cleric Beast, but that's an interesting combination of true statements. So yeah, I guess just while you're watching this boss, like, try and remember its attack patterns and the sort of the general way it moves and acts, because there'll be interesting parallels with another boss that turns up later on in the game. this, I guess, serves as a kind of, not a bait and switch necessarily, but like an interesting expectations thing. Because this is a boss that you can fight. I mean, you can't use a shield. You can fight it in pretty much the same way as you've always fought bosses with Dark Souls. Like, you just kind of kite around it. It's got a big zone that its attacks tend to come from, but you do the same way as possible as normal, really. You dodge towards it, you dodge as late as you can, and you just take advantage of punishment moves. Like, this is how you fight bosses in Dark Souls. And, I mean, I'm doing it terribly, but it's familiar. In a way that fighting Father Gascoigne, as he is otherwise, is not. Let's get closer to it, really. Am I dead? This is looking bad for me. Wow, sure I'm glad I survived that attack, jeez. So yeah, that's the Cleric beast. And apart from, I guess, taking advantage of the rally system in a fun way, it's a pretty familiar type of boss fight. Like, you just Dark Souls it. And I didn't talk about it while it was happening because I was I was kind of trying to play, but it has some attacks that incentivize using rally in a really neat way. Like it has an attack where with its small hand it just kind of swats you, but it doesn't really knock you back. It doesn't have any meaningful stagger effect on you. You recover from it pretty much immediately. So why not just attack? Why not just gain that health back immediately? And we also saw one of my favorite things about this game, which is not boss defeated, not Lord of Cinder destroyed, but prey slaughtered. Prey slaughtered it's so good. I love it. I love to read it on the screen. It's perfect. So now we want to go and fight Gascoigne, and we can little jolt there, friend. We can go and fight Gascoigne, and I can tell you all of the ways in which it's completely different to the Cleric Beast and sets up a lot of what is great about Bloodborne. And I think before we do that, we're going to go and spend these Blood Echoes because we can.
Very well, let me.
What should we have? Do we have any? We don't have any more cold blood, do we? I think we spent all our cold blood. Yeah. We don't have anything worthy to sell because why would we? So I guess we will just get some.
Welcome. What is it? Very well, let me.
Let's get some endurance. I like to dodge. Dodging is fun.
Farewell, good may.
We can go and fight Gascoigne. Or, should we... I wonder if we should go and find Gascoigne's daughter before we find Gascoigne. I wonder if that will do anything. I actually don't remember how that questline plays out completely. Okay, she gives you the music box. See, I did not do these things in the right order when I played through the game. In fact, I don't think I even noticed that whole quest line unfolding. I think I just cracked the amulet that you find and got a bloodstone and was like, cool bloodstone. Whatever it's called, blood gem. Alright, let's go and find Gascoigne's daughter. Let's just go and fully bookend this. So, I've actually never used the music box, so Eden, I'd appreciate it if you can tell me. Is the music box I feel like I've heard that it's a use item that, moves Gascoigne so you can fight him more easily. Is that true? Alright, let's get that, because I think that's fun. That's sort of fun in a narrative way. Yeah, Mimi, I think I had heard that you could only do it once. I mean, it would be pretty good if you could do it more than once. Oh wait, really? It prevents his transformation? Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that at all. Why would I, it seems like a real bad thing. Alright, cool. I guess maybe if you stun him with it, you can use it to prevent his transformation? Why did I come down here? I'm just gonna lose more health this way. I love the way these guys casually reload. Oh, hello. This is not the right way, is it? Oh no, it is. Cool. I don't know. I feel like I'm gonna get killed trying to use this music box where I wouldn't trying to parry him properly. I guess I'll have it. I'll try not to. I'll try not to lean on it, but if I'm feeling, if the fight has a way of pressuring you, the Father Gascoigne fight is extremely good. I'm gonna talk about it a lot, probably before I do it. Maybe a bit. I don't know. I'll try and sneak in some talk. So wait, where is Gascoigne's daughter? Is she in here? No. Yeah, the crows are loud. The crows are a really loud sound. It's a sound I like, but it is really loud. There's like a lantern on the floor somewhere. Go up the ladder and then look to your right. Okay, cool. Oh yeah, that lantern there, cool. Yes, here it is.
Who are you? I don't know your voice, but I know that smell. Are you a hunter? Come to my mum. She never came back from the hunt, and she went to find him, but now she's gone too. I'm all alone. I'm scared.
This is really dark.
Really? Oh, thank you.
Like really, really, really dark.
The red jeweled brooch. It's so big and beautiful. You owe this it. Oh, I mustn't forget. If you find my mum, give her this music box. It plays one of Daddy's favourite songs. And when Daddy forgets us, we play it for him so he remembers. Mom's so silly when I'm off without it.
When Daddy forgets us, we play it for him so that he remembers. Like, this is a family that is having to struggle with the fact that Gascoigne is becoming a beast. Like, they've had to develop coping mechanisms for the father of their family literally forgetting who they are to his beastliness. I think that's so dark, that's so grim. but in a human way that the rest of Bloodborne doesn't really. I mean, it doesn't end up being, but it also doesn't really try for. It's not the kind of remit we're looking for here. But yeah, wow, just oof, that writing. I like it. It's horrible, but I like. Wait, are we back at the? No, okay. We're just gonna go back down this ladder. Let's music box, and it's unlimited use. Okay, that's not actually a lot of startup frames, so that's good. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with giving that a try. Don't worry, Eden. We'll get to old Yharnam. We'll get to old Yharnam. Okay, so we get to see this bridge forward now. So we have this, you know, this is pretty standard stuff. Mob comes at us. Oh, no, flaming. Oh, that's later. Okay, well, anyway, and we can just let most of them kill each other. The funny thing about coming up this ladder is that sometimes the game doesn't start this giant far enough from the flaming ball to not get hit by it when it ignites. I think that's pretty funny. Oh, too low to get that visceral off. Sad. It's okay. Rally gave us our health back. Okay, so we got these stairs. Generally ignore these guys because two of them is quite strong, and I'm just gonna go up here and end up in this graveyard. Now, no guarantees that I will do this the first time. I died one strike off finishing it the first time I tried it last night, so I'm sure that will happen again. We get this cutscene, which I really like. We see Gascoigne. He's having a little chop. Big chop, as it happens. I don't know if you see it in this cutscene or if you only see it in. Yeah, see that's just a person he's chopping up, which you know is what we've been doing. Kind of feeds into his whole. One day you too will be like me. And he's not entirely wrong. See? Outsider. Accent. Interestingly, different accent to his daughters. This is another of my favourite music tracks in the game, actually. I didn't realise until I played this through yesterday, but it's actually very quiet. Oh, no visceral there, okay. No, you can't visceral him though, so it doesn't do that much damage. So this is the first boss that is, I would say, unequivocally a Bloodborne boss. Like, this boss could not be in Dark Souls. Because the way that you fight it is so different to the way that you fight any Dark Souls boss that I think it is just like, so much of what exemplifies what is great about the game is in this boss fight. I love it. So not only is he human-sized, he uses your own tools in a very similar way to you. Like he has the exact same primary weapon as me and a very similar secondary weapon, although he's using the shotgun version, which is actually kind of a pain. But like, he's very, you know, he telegraphs his attacks in a single way, but like, I guess, specifically from the perspective of the original Dark Souls, like, humanoid opponents did not fight in this way. Like, in Dark Souls 2 and 3, they start doing it a lot more, and I like that. It makes this, it makes what is a symmetric fight feel very dynamic, because you already feel the way that you attack. It's an inherent part of the way that you navigate the world. But if a boss tries to do the same thing, it comes off quite limp. It doesn't really work. So what they do is they give Gascoigne, they give him attacks that look like what your attacks feel like. And I think that is super smart. That's just so good. And then as a consequence of that, because his animations are so flashy, they're very parryable. Oh hey, Mimi's off. Bye Mimi, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed the stream, and I hope you will join us another time.
What's that smell?
What is that smell, I wonder?
Oh, it seems to me it's enough to make a man sick.
So, yeah, while I feel quite confident walking away from this boss, I'm terrible at fighting the second phase. So, if my play suddenly goes out of the window, that's why. Oof, big. Alright, I'm gonna try stunning him now, get some more damage in. Oh no, he's transforming. Oh no, okay, he didn't give a shit. Ah! Okay, so yeah, he's big now. He's very big. Oh, the second phase of this music is just incredible. How okay with the dash. Ooh, did the audio tear there? It sounded like the audio teared. Maybe it didn't. Okay. I'm getting some audio artifacts that I'm not psyched about here. Oh hey, look, who's this? Oh, she's wearing a red jeweled brooch. How about that? So wait, does the music... I didn't realise the music box would work on Wolf Gascoigne. Thanks for that. Oh, he heard it super late. Ah! Jeez. Oh. That was a cool animation though, where he has a big old scream. He's clearly having a shit time. Alright, we're just gonna run fast to the boss this time. He's another boss with one of those big combos of very, very damaging attacks. See again, just like clever use of lifts and verticality in this space. It helps it really, really fall down on itself. I like that. I just hope this doesn't take me more than like one more attempt, because otherwise I'm going to have to go and grind for Quicksilver bullets, and that's going to be boring. Excuse me? That was interesting. So that's Father Gascoigne. He kind of he combines this sort of human versus human and human versus monster thing that is basically the binary of Soulsborne monster fights, and he does it in a really cool way. And one of the other things I really like about this fight, and a reason that I think it's so smart, is that even though I did it a lot, like, dodging in this fight is a terrible, terrible idea, because this boss fight is littered with gravestones, which are almost, I mean, not quite, I guess shoulder height, but almost like waist height obstacles that make dashing just a terrible prospect. Because if you're just doing what I was doing and backdashing all the time, unless you have a pretty solid awareness of your surroundings, you just get caught on gravestones and get hit all the time. And coupled with the fact that Gascoigne can jump in the air and dive kick you from all the way across the map, like, you have to be super, super aware of your surroundings in a way that for a lot of other boss fights in Souls you kind of don't. Like, the one that I always think about is Onstein and Smorg, or however the hell you pronounce those names. And it's just like, apart from knowing where the pillars are and how you can maybe use the pillars to block attacks, there's not a lot of positional awareness required for that fight. Whereas this fight, there's all kinds of stuff going on. This is a connection of so many different factors in Souls, and I just love it. Oh, Rex is here. Hey, Rex. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining us. I'm glad you're feeling well enough to join us. So, also in that fight, we came up these stairs, and we came down here. We went down there, and we found this brooch that we said we would find, and I guess we can go and tell that girl that we used her music box to kill her dad, who had already killed her mum. That is the kind of game we're playing. Oh, I'm glad you had a good evening, Rex. I'm glad. Eden disagrees with me about On Silent Smog, and, you know, fair enough. That's allowed. I just don't think that game, that fight is very, like, I don't know, the, even just in a sort of general sense, like the geo in here is like much more, it's almost like, I don't know, I don't want to say labyrinthine because it's like, it's just haphazard. It makes dodging just a rough prospect. Whereas I guess it's sort of, I guess you could say it was more graceful versus One Silent Smog. I think that's a solid idea, is that there's a more graceful relationship between the geo in that fight and this one, where it's more like, oh, where am I? Whereas in, you know, in the former graceful sense, dodge rolling to block attacks is much more easy, whereas here it's quite hard. I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about the geo of this graveyard, and we're going to... We're going to move into Edon Tomb. I'm glad you're all enjoying me not lighting that lamp. I don't plan to. The Bergenworth spider hides all manner of rituals and keeps our lost master from us. A terrible shame, it makes my head shudder uncontrollably. This is a really good note, because if you've never played the game before, it's completely inscrutable. What on earth does it mean? But it's very ominous and very cool. Like, every line of this is packed with, I mean, apart from maybe a terrible shame, although even a terrible shame is pretty dripping. Like, there's just so much going on here. Like, who is the Bergenworth spider? What rituals are they talking about? Who is their master? Why do they refer to it as a shame? And, like, it makes my head shudder uncontrollably. That's not a normal thing to write. That's weird. If I remember, I'll come back to this when we find the Bergenworth spider, because we will. But for now, we're going to continue. I'm going to unequip this tiny music box because it's making me sad just remembering I have it. Oh, Deanie is going to bail. Thank you for coming, Deanie. It was a lot of fun. Oh, my chair just... A little bit of behind the scenes here. I'm streaming on well, I'm sitting on... My office has a desk chair, or a sort of, you know, an office chair, one of those, you know, pressure up-down things that must be going on about 15, maybe 20 years old. And, it no longer holds me up if I sit on it in a certain way. It's very, very, very annoying. And here we are in the Edon Chapel. Ooh, I like it. And this is another one thing that I really like about Bloodborne. Because I'm going to light this lamp, because I like lighting this lamp. Sorry to upset you all. Look at this. Look at this friend. What the hell? But...
Oh, you must be a hunter.
Hey there.
Good. I've been waiting for one of your ilk.
What's up?
These hunts have everyone all locked up inside, waiting for it to end. It always does. Always has, you know. Since forever. But
Since
it won't end
forever.
nicely. Not this time. Even some folks hiding inside are going round. Screams of women folk, the stench of blood, the snarls of beasts. None of them's too uncommon now. Yharnam's done for, I tell you.
Quite possibly.
But if you spot anyone with their wits about them, tell them about this here Erden Chapel. They'll be safe here. The incense wards off the beasts. Spread the word. Tell them to come on over. If you wouldn't mind.
Well, yeah, he totally said Erdon, huh? I've said it Edon my whole life, like Oedipus, but I guess it's Erdon. I'll see if I can work that into my vernacular. Look, it's a fantasy, but so both Regs and Eden are complaining about my pronunciation, to which I say, it's a fantasy video game. There is no correct way to pronounce anything. None of it is real. I mean, I guess I could do it so that it agrees with what they say in the game, but like... What it absolutely is, Oedipus. Log off, Eden. Anyway, what I really like about this character is... Could anything be more other about this character? Like, they've got a gross face, they're literally half my height when they're standing. If indeed they are standing, what the hell is going on? They've got terrifying long arms. They look like one of the sewer people that we found earlier. But they're just a friend. This is actually one of the safest places in the entire game. This is our first location that we can tell people who are lost and sick and vulnerable to go to, and by and large, they'll be safe if we send them here. I love it. There's a lot of discussion going on about how you pronounce Oedipus in this chat, and like, all I'm going to say is that you can pronounce it in different ways based on where you're from, and I'm gonna it's gonna be the last thing I say on the pronunciation of Oedipus. I will, however, begin pronouncing it Erdon Chapel, if it makes you all happy. So we've kind of achieved all of the goals I wanted to achieve for this stream. I've got a lot of really, really boring stuff I have to do off camera. I don't know if I want to do before I move on to the next stream, but I don't know. I'm going to go and give Gascoigne's daughter her mother's brooch, though, because that's gonna pay off in a big way. I'm going to add to the stream chat rules that I will not have the way that I pronounce words policed by children and ingrates. I'm just going to contemplate this lamp for a while longer without lighting it. Oh yeah, because we rushed this, we didn't actually kill any of these people. Whoops. I was talking for so long, I briefly forgot what it was like to play Bloodborne. I hope that happens again. How are we getting that? Oh yeah, we are gonna... how are we getting that? God. Speaking of labyrinthine, Yharnam is a labyrinth. I love it. Eden is definitely a cop. Whether it's pronunciation or, I don't know, something else, Eden's a cop. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. Ha! Ha 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 ha! You died, giant. Oh yeah, our pig friend is down here. Can I sneak up on it? That would be funny. Even though my feet are making an extremely loud noise. I guess the pigs are making a loud noise, huh? And just so unbelievably loud. Extremely rude. So yeah, I think we will talk to Gascoigne's daughter about her dad and then probably call it. You know, it's Gascoigne, like Champagne. They're related.
Hello, Miss Hunter.
Hello.
Find my mum.
Here's this red jeweled brooch. I sure did find your mum.
Was it really her?
Yup.
Mummy.
Yeah.
They're alive.
This is horrible. Why did I do this? I'll be your mum. I love how it says talk, but really it's listen to the tears of. Yep, she's sad. I don't actually know when that updates, but when it, I'll find out, and then when it does, we'll go and I guess see what that has done. I guess we'll just go back to the lantern and we can call it. This is a fun area. This is a thing I forgot to mention about the level design here, is that if you try and go through this level quickly, that patrol will meet you on that staircase, and there are too many models in one place for you to run past them. I think that's it's that sort of classic Souls propensity to think extremely hard about how the player will approach any given area. Boring me. I'm gonna maintain my brand and not kill these wolves. Don't have any cold blood, so I guess we will just spend what we've got. And
Very well, Ned.
Yep. Let's get up to let's get some endurance. Endurance is important in this game.
Farewell, good. May you.
Okay, so well, thanks everyone for coming to the inaugural Jane Bloodborne's House of Eyeballs. The name, if you've never played Bloodborne before, might seem weird, but eventually it won't. And yeah, so today we beat Gascoigne and the Cleric beast. Next time, I don't really know what the extent of what we'll do. We'll fight at least one more boss, maybe two. We'll get to explore Old Yharnam. Old Yharnam is a lot of fun. And, don't know what else we'll do. I will figure that out. But I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope you will watch again, because I'll definitely stream again, because it's a lot of fun to stream with you all. You're all very nice and chatty. And if you know anyone who likes Bloodborne, who might like watching this stream, please tell them, because maybe they like it, you know. So, thanks everyone for watching, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.